concerning the intent of the Board of Education to sell 30 million building bonds for the purpose of paying the cost of those capital projects approved by the referendum at the March 17, 2020 general primary election. We're going to allow 15 minutes for the hearing. If anybody has any questions concerning the bond issues. And we'll continue with the regular board meeting at 7:15.
Pisamy panie. Siedzą, po co? Aha, bo to są szkoły. Wyłącz głos.
Got me in a lot of trouble. Okay. Can I hear it? Oh my gosh. What? They can see our faces. I don't care. Everyone can see my face. I won't show my video.
Everybody on the Zoom, just a reminder, please mute yourselves unless there's a public comment or consider.
Ona mówiła, żeby tam nic nie mówić chyba.
Can you hear?
Yes?
Hello.
Mary Ann, we just had a bunch of people join. If you want to maybe explain where we are, what point we are at in the meeting.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Just to let everybody know, we're still in our public hearing for the bond sale of the $30 million from the March 17th general primary election referendum. We will run that hearing until 7:15, at which point we will be starting our special meeting for tonight.
Yeah, you can leave it, and then when public participation comes, I'll come up and grab them.
Okay. Via chat, perfect.
Hello.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you? Okay. I'm muted. Everybody can hear me now. Okay, great. As we're waiting for the last 2 minutes of our hearing to finish, I'd like to address the fact why the entire board is not here tonight. If you're having a hard time hearing me, please just let me know. At a previous board meeting, it is possible that our board was in contact with a person who tested positive for COVID-19. What you see here is the people who received their test results back as negative, but we do not have all test results back from all the board members. So they are going to Zoom in also in the interest of safety. As you can see how quick and how disturbing this can be. Tonight, everybody planned to be here, and unfortunately, we cannot. So I want you to know that all board members who could not be here, who have not received a negative test result yet, are on Zoom, so they're here virtually. And that is the best thing for them in the fact that it'll keep everybody safe. Audience, participants, the rest of us also. So I just wanted to point that out to everybody on why you're not seeing the entire board. At that, I can think we can close the hearing if anybody has anything they need to say. Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and start the meeting. It's 7:15. At this time, I'd like to call the special meeting of the Board of Education for July 15, 2020 to order at 7:15 p.m.
Andrea Delzati,
Here.
Mary Ann DeSecchi,
Here,
Allison Downs,
Here.
Tina Iwanio is here, Laura Lukasik,
Here.
Ina Sada,
Here.
Anna Alteras.
Here.
Also in attendance, we have Dr. Borszewski, Ms. Piltaver, Ms. Brandt, Mr. Humbles, Mr. Dini, Mr. Moranto, Ms. Kartzimis, Ms. Davro, Ms. Leva, Ms. Hollett, Ms. Grokey, Mrs. Maglione, Mr. Amsler, and Ms. Elizabeth Hennessy from Raymond James.
thank you, Tina. As I mentioned, the administrators and other board members are in attendance as reported by our secretary. So we do have a quorum. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag,
To the flag.
United States
to the republic,
Republic
to
for which
stand.
one nation under indivisible.
Mary Ann, you're muted again.
Why do I keep muting? Okay, again, I'll ask you to state your name. And you're asking the question about the disinfection? Okay, so they're together. Thank you. We have in-person comments. We have a comment that was sent in earlier today. And we also have our board secretary, administrative assistant on Zoom, who will read any questions that come in under our chat feature. So we'll go ahead and start with the in-person one. Marzena, you have a couple of things you'd like to discuss. If you'd like to come up, why the district didn't ask parents. Ma'am, if you'd come up to the microphone so everybody can hear you.
They sent the petition from parents from our district. Did you get the petition?
Yes, we did.
More sign. We can give you that tomorrow or today. Okay, I'm gonna leave that. Okay. Did you read that and can read that for other parents that?
I'm sorry?
For petition. Can somebody read that today?
The one that you just posted on the Facebook page? That one?
Yes.
You want me to read
Marianne,
it?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the Zoom meeting, people can't hear the in-person comment.
Where would you like me to send it? No, the district cannot mail out your petition.
Okay.
No, ma'am, we will not be mailing out petitions.
Can you, I ask some questions and you can answer my questions?
Of course, we can answer your questions. I believe we have answered them many times. As you can even see tonight, how disruptive it is to possibly be in contact with COVID. I need you to understand completely, we do not operate in a vacuum here. We have 1,500 students, 200 staff that we want to keep safe. I know that some of the concerns you have, we will definitely address. And
We know that
thank you.
but you only don't like, you didn't ask peers what the parents think, what the parents want. In other schools, they send the school before they decide. You didn't ask us.
Ma'am, do you understand I have 5 members on this board with kids in school?
Yeah, I
Okay, so we did ask. I'm sorry?
With all due respect, the choices that we put to our parents, and there is choice. I realize that the choice that you want isn't there. And I understand that. I empathize with that. And we're working very hard to try to figure out some options.
Kim, you and Marianne are muted. We can't hear.
Deny the science. So in response to your petition and your letter that you sent, the board and I are working together. I've shared with them a response. You'll get that tomorrow.
Oh, thank you so much. And we have about how long the teachers must spend with our kids, like during winter.
Again, that was outlined in the plan that I shared.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Can you unmute again, Kim?
Kim, can you unmute? Somehow we just keep going to mute. You have to watch your mute button.
Yeah, because Kim, you're muted now.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I didn't realize I was on mute.
I don't know why it keeps doing that.
As Kim mentioned, we do have a response. You're more than welcome to leave the rest of the petition here. But I want everybody here and on Zoom and everywhere on tape. I'm sorry? We'll send it to you. We'll send you the. We just want to make sure everybody understands this is. Okay.
So think about that. This is how our teachers are going to look at the classroom.
This is how a child is going to have to be during the day. Sure. No, go ahead. Ma'am, we're going to ask the parents to make those decisions for the safety of their child themselves. We have offered 2 very good, strong learning classes. And we're going to ask parents have concerns, which there is just as many people who have concerns about sending their kid to school at all, as there are who want them to go all day long. So you just need to understand the work that's being put in to make sure a child can stay home and respect the decision of that parent was put in the same amount of work to get the kids into school for a couple of days a week to be with their teachers. Now, as you're sitting here for the last 25 minutes, I have seen everybody play with their hands. A child sitting in a seat that cannot move for 3.5 hours is going to be very, very stressed. I want you to understand this is something that is not an easy decision for anybody. We're in a new global time and a new global era. I know there are schools that are not letting their kids into school at all. And as of today, the mayor of Chicago is deciding whether to go back to phase 3. If the rates of infection continue to rise in Illinois, I can see it happening in Illinois. But it is not within a vacuum that these administrators have worked all summer to come up with a plan, not only to get your kids to school, in school, e-learning, and back home with food as needed. It's not something that just came up overnight. And all our board members, although they're not here, are very appreciative of the work they did. Okay. Any other public participation here?
You have to go to the microphone because they can't hear you in the
They can't hear you in Zoom if you don't come to the microphone. I'll get it.
Started, I'm not happy with it because the teacher spent almost 15 minutes a day with the child, like asking how you doing, what do you do in the day, but nothing learning. Like, do you think it's getting better or still the same?
As I said
In the presentation that I shared with the parents on the Facebook page, remote learning in the fall is going to look very different than e-learning looked in the spring. Our plans are very different, and if you go back and look at the presentation that I shared, it clearly outlines specifically how that's going to look. Schools, I can't, you have to speak in the microphone.
Like multiple language speaking.
Bilingual students, right, our bilingual students. The bilingual students are given the opportunity. Our level 1.5 to 3.0 on the access score from the spring, those students are going to have in-person school 4 days a week. So we are giving, I'm sorry?
Even the third grader?
Any student with an access score between 1.5,
yeah, I understand.
yes, even a third.
It's only kindergarten and first grader.
No, kindergarten and first graders are coming 4 days a week because we do believe that at that age level, it's most developmentally appropriate to get them in as often as possible, right? So we bring our K1 kids in 4 days a week, and the 2 through 8 kids are in person 2 days a week. So, but our bilingual ELL students, they're coming 4 days a week as well, based on their access scores if they qualify for that.
Okay. And also the sanitizer day, why they need a full day for the sanitizing? Why don't you do the group like Wednesday A and B afternoon?
We don't have the manpower or the time to adequately follow the guidelines set forth by ISB to clean the school. That's why we're doing it. Monday, Tuesday, the same students are occupying the same space. Wednesday, we're deep cleaning because new kids are coming into that same space on Thursday and Friday. So we are following the guidelines to the letter of the law. If I'm going to be criticized for anything, I would prefer it to be for being overly cautious than not cautious enough. We're in the middle of a global pandemic. And right now, we're making decisions in the best way possible to keep the children and the adults in the building safe. That is our priority.
Okay, and one more question. If they come in, like, from in the school, you can spray them with the Lysol, or what does you tell in the video?
I'm sorry, what?
Like, the spray, what do you use for backpack, or the whole kids can be sprayed?
No, we're definitely not going to spray the children, but we are going to spray the area. For example, the backpack sprayers that you're speaking of,
Yeah.
those are for the buses. So after we're done picking up the Kennedy students and we drop them off, before we can start the Washington run and pick up those students, we have to use these air sprayers and spray the buses and disinfect the buses.
Not the kids, not the kids.
No, we're not going to spray the children. No.
No.
No, we're not spraying the backpacks. The backpack sprayers are the type of sprayers that the custodians put on their backs.
To go in and clean those buses.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
No.
Oh, yeah, no.
Otherwise, if they have a running nose or coughing, which is possible in the fall, what are you gonna do if the kids like have no temperature, only coughing and running nose? What are you gonna do?
According to the guidelines, students with symptoms are supposed to be sent to a space to quarantine. Those are the guidelines, you know?
Like with running nose and coughing?
Those are symptoms of COVID, ma'am. We would ask that a parent wouldn't send their child with any kind of symptoms of COVID.
Allergy. How about allergy?
This, you can't shout out. This is not a town hall meeting. You cannot shout out.
I'm sorry, ma'am, just 1 second. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Like last year, it's the flu season.
Correct.
Kids still coming in school, like with temperature, and it's fine because the flu season doesn't.
Ma'am, there's no reason at all a child should come to school with a temperature.
Yeah, but it happens a lot.
Well, it
No, it
shouldn't.
doesn't.
And now we'll be able to check the children for temperatures. Any child,
They check the temperature, but just give them normal life, you know.
oh, absolutely, but understanding
We didn't make the guidelines.
this isn't a normal time.
The guidelines are set forth by the governor and the State Board of Education, and it's our responsibility to follow them as we see fit in our current circumstances in our school buildings with the number of kids that we have, and the number of staff that we have, and the space that's available to us. That's all I can assure you is that we are following those guidelines specifically. That is what we're doing. And I understand you may not like that or the guidelines, but they are what they are.
The other school open for 5 days.
No, they're not. They're not social distancing. They are not social distancing.
They still not social distancing. The people met together. I mean, it is what it is.
Each school district had to make their decisions based on the information in front of them.
Ma'am, I'm going to ask you to sign out a form since you didn't have one yet. Okay?
Did you have a question?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead, come back up.
How about kids with the allergy? You know, my son has allergy and he's sneezing. What you gonna do with him if he's gonna sneeze?
We're going to follow the guidelines set forth by the State Board of Education. We're going to follow the guidelines.
What are you gonna send my kids?
According to the guidelines, there is supposed to be a space for students to quarantine in the gym with other kids, with divider walls in between them, keeping them 6 feet apart. I can't hear you.
How it's gonna be big? How big is gonna be the place? What you say? How big is the place?
The gym?
No. Where you gonna
The box.
Oh, we're using dividing walls, and we're having kids in those spaces until their parents can pick them up if they're sick.
But if he's, you know, he's not sick because he's allergic.
You know what?
Ma'am, there's
You're
nothing.
asking me questions that are just impossible. The answers I can only continue to give you is we're going to follow the guidelines set forth by the State Board of Education. If you read those guidelines, children with symptoms or a fever or children that are experiencing COVID symptoms are supposed to go to a space and be quarantined from the rest of the kids. I know that you don't like that answer, but that is the only answer.
I do have, excuse me, I do have one submission from Marina Shavenko, parent and a community member. So I'm going to read this submission. It was on my desk, and then we'll find out if Marisol has any others. Hello, District 81. I am a mother of 2 children, age 5 and 6, who will be attending Kennedy School. Currently, SD81 gives an option for in-person learning for 3.5 hours a day for 4 days. Meanwhile, there is no option for aftercare. School District 81 suggested working parents to find a daycare center. I would like to understand how daycare center will be more beneficial in academic learning and safer than actual school setting. It was suggested by SD81 that taxpayers should be making phone calls to the park district and daycares to inquire about childcare options. However, a great portion of public school funding comes from taxpayers. If public school cannot accommodate in-person learning and does not hear concerns of parents who has no other option but to work full-time outside the home setting, our taxes should be diverted to private school and not public. Also, I would like to point out that there are daycare centers that have been open since the pandemic started and successfully accommodated certain amount of children who are way younger than school age. As Illinois moved to stage 4, daycare centers increased the number of children attending up to 15 in one room and continue to operate safely and efficiently. More to add, they are allowing children to have a meal on premises and provide outdoor activities. So I do understand this. The park district always offered after school care, and unfortunately they're under probably the same constraints we're looking at. While 15 children can go to daycare, we can't have 15 children in a class all day long because most classes have more than 15 children. So we're doing the best we can here. The number of children going every day the same is probably 15. We don't have that option. Most of our classes have more than 15 kids, so we have to break them up. I don't know what age group 15 is allowed to, but I know the younger ones were up to 12. So maybe it's older kids that are at 15, but I know the younger age group was at 12. Again, we don't have that option. It's not the same 12 day after day. So as I understand, this parent is probably looking for daycare or some option through the park district that had offered after school care in the past, but we don't offer after school care and we can't follow daycare settings. So I just wanted to get that read into the record. Marisol, can you tell me if anything has come in via chat?
Yes, we have 2 via the Zoom chat. First is Ms. Magdalena Ruskowski, who asks, what about essential workers, children? Who can help them? No one think about them, single parents.
I'm sorry, 1 second. Is there a way to make it so that the public can hear what Marisol is saying?
Can you turn your volume up and put your microphone to it, maybe?
Okay, we'll ask her to read the question again.
Ready?
Marisol, can you reread that question?
No, that's okay. We'll get it louder.
Of course. So Miss Magdalena Ruskowski, she asks, what about children of essential workers? Who can help them? No one thinks about them, or single parents.
So the question was, what about children of essential workers? No one's thinking about them as parents. I will tell you, I am thinking about you, essential workers, and children of essential workers all hours of the day and night. I will tell you that the Park District is trying very, very hard to come up with a plan to offer some sort of childcare to essential worker children. The Park District has worked tirelessly over the summer to try to figure out a plan to make that offer. We are in a very difficult situation as we face this global pandemic because there's rules that have been set forth that we're required to follow. I had a nice conversation last week with the interim village manager and the Park District Director, John Beeler, and we're going to meet again at the end of this week in the hopes of offering some sort of limited childcare to our essential workers' children. Right now, plans are still in the making, and hopefully we'll be able to come up with something.
Okay, we have another submission from Ms. Vanessa Gonzalez. She asks, will breakfast, lunch, pickup be an option for the parents of children who will be remote learning?
I'm sorry.
Will breakfast and lunch breakfast and lunch pickup or delivery be offered to parents that are fully remote learning? And yes, the answer to that question is yes. It is our intention to offer both pickup and delivery on Mondays and Wednesdays for parents who are doing in-person learning and remote learning when we start school.
Okay, is there anything else? There's nothing else?
That is all that I have.
Sure, please. Thank you. We have one more from the audience coming up.
Were you able to hear me answer? Did you hear me?
I show our fourth grade. Not all parents want their kids to come back to school. Like, you know, of course, we want our kids to come back to school full time, but not everybody feels this way. And unfortunately, I think it's possible that those who do feel this way are getting the voice as opposed to those who do not feel that way. We have a 6-year-old in our house, a very ambitious 6-year-old who loves school. I also have a 19-year-old who's going back to college, maybe, because even college is doing this. Everybody's doing this. Can you stay, can you not stay? Are you in class, are you out of class? Are you e-learning? You can't have visitors, you can't touch each other, you can't be around each other. It's an unprecedented situation that we're dealing with. It may only be, I think it's 10% of the COVID count that comes into play for children. There's a lot of places I want my daughter to be in 10% or my nephew, top 10% of his class. Top 10 favorite in America, not 10% of the COVID patients. That's not where I want my child or my nephew. We appreciate how hard it is to not have your child go to school. But I'm sorry, I don't think it's your responsibility to have to be a caretaker, but it's a responsibility we take on every day as teachers. It's your responsibility to teach our kids. So I'm sorry if a single mom or an essential worker has to go to work. I get it. We all have to work, whether it be at home, going in. I was working at home. I couldn't take time out of my day to educate. I couldn't do it. I get it. It's not your fault if I'm an essential worker. It's not your fault if I don't have daycare. It's unfair to put all of this onto our district who is just trying to put a good plan forward to continue the education for our kids in a time that is hitting the whole world. Not Schiller Park, not Franklin Park, not United States, the whole world. And it's not getting better right now. Because people are not taking it seriously. They're not putting enough validity into how serious this illness is. And if you don't take it seriously, then you've been blessed to not have it affect somebody in your life. Because if you have had it affect somebody in your life, if you've waited 14 days while they're sick, hoping every day that they're not going to end up on a ventilator and dead, then you take it seriously. Or worse yet, if you have a 30-year-old young man who died, you take it seriously. This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is serious stuff. It could kill your child. That right there is a deal breaker for me. Done. Got it. I'm good. So thank you. Thank you for all the work you've done. Thank you for trying so hard to make this work for everybody. It's not. With that saying, you can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time. You can only do so much. Very easy to pass judgment when you're not taking the lives and the health of 1,500 students and hundreds of teachers into your hands. Let's say no kid gets sick, but what if 30 of your teachers get sick? Where does our learning system go at that point? You can't even run that.
Correct.
This is a serious thing, and it's hard, and it sucks, and I wish it wasn't this way, and we all wish it wasn't this way. But I can show you at least 10 videos of parents in a hospital with their kid on a ventilator, gasping for breath, praying it didn't take the life of their kid. If you think it can happen to a child, it can. So thank you for all you've done, and I hope that as we move forward, people try to understand how serious this is, and it's not easy for you guys. That is it all.
Thank
That
you.
is it
Thank
all.
you.
Those of us who understand. Those of us who
Thank you.
understand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one.
Of course.
I do want to thank the administrators and the staff in District 81. They're really hard. There's not a doubt in my mind. It is a tough situation right now. I have a friend who works at a bank. She was doing all the right precautions, right? In the home, stripping, clothes in her bag, wearing her shoes, lights off, cleaning her groceries when she came home. She got COVID. So it can happen to anybody, no matter how careful you are. So for people to be lashing out at you guys and the staff and the district as a whole is insane. It's just completely insane. Do we want to erase 2020 from our lives? I do. It's been a crazy year, and I don't see again another ending. So, just thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your comments.
Mary Ann, we have
This time
we have one more comment via Zoom from Miss Stephanie Stasiak. She says, I would just like to say, as a parent of 4 children in SD81, that you are doing an amazing job. Too many people are not thinking about this as a safety precautions. SD81 is not your babysitter. Please know that your plan is to educate, and that's what it should be. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you, everybody, for your comments. As this is public participation and comments, I also have a comment. And generally I don't, but today I do. I don't generally pay attention to Facebook, social media, but in these last couple of weeks, it was brought to my attention, I should. And I have. And on occasion, I have tried to reasonably discuss the things we are doing here. I have seen our administrators being called ugly names. I have heard about our administrators being called ugly names. I have heard terrible things being said about everybody associated with this decision. Again, I'm going to tell you it was not easy, but to see what's happening is just unbelievable. It's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking. When I see some of the things that Kim has been called, that our administrators have been called, I think to myself, why do this? For years, I don't know, Kim, 25 years? 25
30.
years? 25 years she's been here.
32.
And this is what happens when a global pandemic happens. It's just unbelievable. I have tried to answer some of the people on Facebook. I have tried to reasonably answer without name calling and shaming. But unfortunately, it didn't seem to get me very far. I'm not sure if the people who wrote some of that stuff, who called Kim with some very mean things, who's called some of the other administrators, are watching this. But maybe you guys might know them, or somebody watching this knows them. We don't want it here. This is not something we're going to accept. We have to hear them. but we're not accepting it. So just so everybody knows, the vicious name calling can stop. A global pandemic is very, very hard to live through, but nobody up here on that board behind me started it. So we don't need, it's very easy because we're quite accessible. We can't talk to anybody else, but we're accessible. Just not that way. So just stop it. Just stop the name calling. Stop the rhetoric. If you have valid questions, valid comments, valid concerns, as you see, we try to work. We've worked very, very hard to make sure your children, our staff, everybody involved is healthy. And we've given options, but that's all we can do. So stop, just stop. Don't do it anymore. Quit the name calling, quit the calls, just stop. Okay? Thank you. Marisol, anything else?
Yes, there was one more question from Sharon. Is there a plan for children of parents that refuse to send their kids to school with a mask? I think she meant without a mask. Will they still be allowed to enter school?
The answer is very simple. No, they will not. There is no option. There is no other option. It is mandatory for a child to come to school with a mask. The administration has acquired 2 masks per family, so a child can definitely come with a clean mask every day that they're in school. We expect parents to take care of that mask and launder the mask and make sure the mask is safe for the child to wear. If a parent or a child comes to school without a mask and refuses to wear one, I can't imagine why a child would, unless maybe possibly their parent told them not to. The child will have to go home. The child on a bus has to wear a mask. So if the child is trying to get on the bus without the mask, the child will have to go home. So it's not an option. There is no option here. There's not possibly maybe not, the child has to wear a mask in school. If a parent comes to the school for any reason, the parent has to have a mask. As you see here, what we're requiring our teachers to wear every day. So no. Sorry. Okay. Anything else, Marisol?
Yes, a question from Kristen. Are we allowed to send our child to school with their own cloth mask, or does it have to be the school appointed mask?
No, they can come with their own mask. Some children have been wearing masks all summer and are used to their mask. Again, we're going to ask the parent to make sure it's laundered and taken care of and safe for the child to wear daily. But if they have a mask, I see a lot of children in stores and things with their own mask. They're more than welcome to bring their own mask. I know my kids would want, Elsa on it. So absolutely. Anything else, Marisol?
Nothing else. Oh, one more, sorry, just came in. From Bloomquist. I'm sorry you guys have to deal with this. This is not something any of us signed up for. I struggle every day deciding whether to send my child or not. My stomach is a mess. I just want you to know that I appreciate all of you.
Thank you. And that's another thing, as you mentioned, we respect somebody's decision completely not to send their child to school and utilize our e-learning platform, our virtual learning. It's a decision that a parent has to make for their child, and if that decision is not to send their child, we totally respect that decision. So, just so everybody knows that.
Marianne, one more. It was sent privately, from Lukasik, from Miss Laura Lukasik. What about wearing face shield only? For a child, I'm assuming.
Sure.
So We actually considered face shields only, and that was initially the plan, because we do think, as you can see here, the face shield is a little less annoying than the face shield and the mask. But about a week and a half ago, ISB changed the guidance on that and came out and said that face shields alone wouldn't be enough. So if you were going to use face shields, they would have to be along with the mask as an added layer of protection. So the mask is always required, and a face shield alone is not considered enough.
And ISB is the Illinois State Board of Education, just for anybody who doesn't know. That's exactly who came out with that mandate. Anything else?
That's all I have.
That's it? Okay, so we're going to move on from public participation now. We're going to talk about the resolution for the bond sale. You're welcome to stay, or you're understanding completely it's almost 8 o'clock. If you'd like to leave, please don't feel bad about just walking out. Okay. New business. I'd like to entertain a motion the Board of Education adopt Resolution 2020, providing for the issue of not to exceed 30 million general obligation school bonds of the district for the purpose of paying the cost of those capital projects approved by referendum at the March 17, 2020 general primary election, providing for the levy of a direct annual tax sufficient to pay the principal and interest on said bonds, and authorizing the execution of a bond purchase agreement with Raymond James and Associates Incorporated in connection with the proposed sale of said bonds as presented. Someone move, please.
I'll move. I'll second.
Any questions, comments, or concerns? I think we have Liz.
Good evening. I'm happy to answer any questions. Just to give you the short notes, this is called a parameters bond resolution. It authorizes the board to move forward with the issuance of the 30 million bonds with no further board action. However, the final pricing will be approved by the board delegates, which include the board president and either the business manager or the superintendent. So last week we had our, or I guess it was this week, we had our rating presentation to Standard & Poor's to re-up the rating, and Kim and Pasquale did a fabulous job. We expect that rating back next week, and we expect to go to market on July 27th. The great news is we've hit another low point in interest rates, so we're at or near historic lows. So it's a great time to issue bonds, and we think the all-in true interest cost will come in somewhere under 3%.
Oh, great. Does anybody have any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Anna?
No.
Andrea? Laura? No.
No.
Tina?
No. Good luck. I'm excited to hear if our bond rating goes up, so fingers crossed.
Great. Okay, if there's no further questions or comments, Tina, call the roll, please.
Sure thing. Delzati?
Yes.
DeSecchi?
Yes.
Downs?
Yes.
Iwanio, yes. Lukasik?
Yes.
Sada?
Yes.
Alcarreras?
Yes.
And Deuce agrees also.
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion passes. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion the Board of Education adjourn the special board meeting of July 15, 2020 at 7:55 p.m.
I'll move.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, who
Any
moved?
questions, comments, or concerns?
I'll second.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
We had a comment that was just submitted after we closed public comment or public participation. How would you like to address that now, or how would the board like to address that?
We're not closed yet. Go ahead and read it.
Okay, so the person did not submit their name. It says, how would you address the fact that other districts in Illinois are opening in-person learning more than 2 days in person? Our district has the lowest amount of cases. Oh, from Joanna Zuwal.
Our district has the lowest amount of, I'm sorry, didn't hear the last word.
She says our district has the lowest amount of cases.
Marisol, I'm sorry. I think maybe I didn't understand.
Sure. So Joanna Suwal is asking, how would you address the fact that other districts in Illinois are opening in-person learning for more than 2 days in person, while our district has the lowest amount of cases?
I don't know about the lowest amount of cases, but again, I think we've totally addressed how hard we worked on this plan and our degree of where we feel we are safe with our children and the less stress we have. As for the number of cases, I can't tell you what that is. I have no idea. And what other districts are doing, I mean, we are all trying our best. And I know we're doing our best. So there's not much I can say what other districts are doing. Okay. Anything else, Marisol?
That is all I have.
Okay. Tina, call the roll, please.
Elzadi,
Sorry, yes.
DeSecchi,
Yes.
Downs,
Yes.
Iwanio, yes. Lukasik,
Yes.
Sada,
Yes.
Alcaraz.
Yes.
I
Motion
apologize.
passes.
He only barks when we're calling roll. Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining remotely. I hope everybody's feeling okay. I hope you get your test results soon, board. Thank you for all the people who joined on our Zoom, and thank you, everybody, for coming out here tonight. I really appreciate it. Please enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will get you a response tomorrow. We'll get it to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank
Sure, you can leave it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I am going to